The following podcast is a Dear Media production.
Welcome back to Relationsh. It's your host, Cammie Crawford. I'm here today with one of my dear internet friends.
I think so, I guess.
Turned real life, honestly, first of all, I always get ahead of myself. Mm-hmm. We are here with Dr. Allie.
Hello.
Life coach, relationship expert. You can see her on VH1, NBC, Love and Hip Hop, OWN, MTV, the list goes on and on. You have a long repertoire.
I be in these streets.
You be in these streets.
I be in these streets.
But Dr. Allie is somebody that I've been following for, 2 years now?
Probably, yeah.
And the advice that you give on relationships is amazing because it's real. It's not so clinical where people are like, what the fuck is she even talking about? Though you have a PhD.
Yeah, but it's you gotta reach people.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. How long have you known that relationships was going to be your expertise?
That's an interesting question. It was one of those things I almost stumbled into it. Mm-hmm. I was my expertise was in trauma. I worked in health. I was at Kaiser and Cedars and doing all of this work. And then I started working with some adolescent girls.
Right. You told me about this. And it was intense.
Intense. And a lot of them would do so much better we call in milieu. So in the facility when they had a connection with their family. When their family was able to come in, and so the young girls who didn't really have that connection had so much more difficulties.
Yeah.
And so that's when it really clicked for me. And I was trauma, abandonment, abuse, all of these things are connected to attachment. Mm-hmm. And attachment is all about relationships.
Yeah.
And so that's where I need to be.
How much do you think that kind of trickles over to, I feel like I know the answer to this, but how often does it trickle over to marriage and long-term relationships that people have with their significant others?
Every time.
Right.
Your significant other becomes your new caregiver. So the issues that you had with your caregiver, and I say caregiver because it could be mom, dad, grandma, auntie, uncle, foster mother, a number of foster parents. It could be anybody who was a person or people that were figural and important in your life, especially when you were coming up. The relationships that you have with them, whether resolved or unresolved, get projected onto your partner. Oof. Especially if you haven't dealt with it.
Oof.
I know. It makes you think about it all differently.
Well, yeah, I've talked about this on the podcast before, but I feel like there's no way to come into a relationship with zero baggage. I feel like everybody, you are born with zero baggage, and then the second that you're born, it's you start packing.
Yeah. And you're literally packing.
You start packing up all the shit. Oh, okay, family drama, daddy issues, throw that in there. I guess I just am trying to figure out, how can you kind of begin to unpack that? Other than therapy, just on your own, how can you begin to unpack that so that you don't carry that kind of trauma into every single relationship that you go through? Because it's not just the romantic ones. It'll go lead into your friendships. It leads into your work life.
Exactly. Life is relationship.
What do we do?
One, I think we have to learn to unflinchingly look at ourselves and be okay with the parts of us that are vulnerable, the parts of us that are petty, the parts of us that are broken or seem broken, the parts of us that are strong, the parts of us that are resilient. We have to look at ourselves, because if you're not really sitting in this awareness of who I am, you're not gonna be able to fix anything if you're not aware.
Right.
I can't prepare for rain if I don't even know what clouds look like.
Yeah.
So you have to first look outside to know what to be ready for. And so we just have to turn inward. And so that's one of the things therapy can help with, right? Is that you have a person who's trained, who's in your space, who can help you do this investigating. Because for some of us, we do that investigation and it's so heavy that we fall into all these coping mechanisms that we've built and some of them might not be healthy.
Yeah.
And so now we're kind of spiraling because we've looked and it wasn't exactly what we wanted to see.
Yeah.
But that's one of the first steps, is becoming aware and then doing the deep dive. And I'm a big fan of journaling, but we can get to that later.
I did buy that 5-minute journal and I got to about day 3. I just forgot. I just simply forgot. It's 5 minutes of my time.
No, I'm the same way. This ADHD, non-neurotypical brain. It's okay, I did that for 2 seconds. I'm healed, right?
Yeah.
I'm fine.
I'm great.
Done it.
I read the affirmations.
I'm great.
I journaled a little.
I did it all.
And now I have this journal that literally just sits in my bedside drawer and it's completely empty. Yeah. And every single time I'm writing, what do you want to be better at? Be more consistent. Well,
Well, that didn't happen.
I became more consistent at other things. I drink coffee at least twice a day. So consistency is there.
You can do it.
Right.
When it's something that you really value and something that works for you.
Right.
And that's another thing, is that we also are motivated by things that work. And that's why some of the short-term coping mechanisms are so effective, like drugs. They work.
Yeah.
That's why people use them. But in the long term, they can really hurt you, right? Like in the short term, like a partner that like maybe like, you know, big ups you and is always saying really positive things, but then in a week is like attacking you and beating you down, but then you're waiting for those moments where they're big upping you. Like that can seem like a really great coping mechanism, but in the long term, you're getting more torn down than up.
Yeah.
And so it's about finding the things that motivate us in the short term and the long term. So maybe for you, the journal really isn't the thing.
No.
Maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe that's not really
not
the
it.
coping mechanism for you.
It's really not. It's really not. I want it to be, though. Like, I want to be the girl who wakes up and journals and then, you know, goes to bed and journals and reads a book. It's not really like that.
And I love the idea of journaling, but like I've noticed since the whole panty, I have like a pink glittery sparkle journal in my side table as well. And I've just noticed all I do is fill it with all my angry moments.
Oh,
and so I'm like,
no.
okay, girl, I got to pivot this.
Like, this is not matching the aesthetic of the actual journal itself. Let's throw this one out. Get
Literally.
like an all black grief journal.
That's it.
And then
It'll be
use
all
the sparkly
gratitude.
one for, yeah, exactly. The good things. Oh my God, that's so funny. Well, I don't know if you're on TikTok as much as I am.
Yeah, I'm a little obsessed.
Yeah. See, I'm consistent with that. I'm
Yeah.
definitely consistent with watching TikToks for hours. But I've been like deep diving into therapy TikTok, which there's so much that I think I've learned about myself and what I've seen other people learning about themselves through these TikToks about, like, there was one that really struck me, which was like, are you intuitive, or did you grow up in an environment where you had to learn to read the energy in the room for like your own safety of like either your physical safety or your mental health? And I'm like, holy shit. I thought I was just intuitive because I'm a Scorpio. But when you grow up in environments where, like, you know, you kind of have to figure out like, what is it going to be like today? That can contribute to these traits that we think that we just develop. Like, some people are like, am I really like the family comedian, or did I just go through a lot of grief in my household and had to learn how to make everyone feel better?
Exactly. Am I the black sheep, or am I the person who just saw through the bullshit?
Yeah, exactly.
And I didn't pretend like everybody else. And I was like, don't y'all see what the fuck is going on?
Right, exactly. It's so insane how the things that we kind of can't appreciate when we're younger, we learn to have to appreciate them as we're older because it becomes a part of our character development.
Absolutely. We learn 75% of the things we're ever going to learn in the first 7 years of our life.
Ooh. So why we go to school?
I know. To learn the facts and information about how to be a better worker. We can also have a conspiracy conversation about that. But
yes, we can.
But, you know, we learn interpersonal like relationships entirely, right?
Yeah.
We learn how adults treat kids, men treat women, women treat women. We learn all of these intricate things. We learn languages. We learn subtleties to language, unconscious things to language. We learn body language. We learn, like what you're saying, like people who are particularly empathetic. They learn, like, I have to pay attention to my caregiver's facial expressions, or I might not eat today. I might get hit in the face if I'm not really cognizant of the fact that this person's having a bad day.
Yeah.
And so you take that with you throughout the rest of your life, and you're always scanning in people and looking in people like, is this person okay? And so you find yourself, now you're a person who's always helping, always giving, always trying to be of assistance to someone else, trying to modulate their emotions, trying to modulate their affect, never thinking about your own. And then you wonder why you're 35 years old, you're single, and you're depleted.
Ooh.
You're exhausted. Wait, did I just say
Somebody just turned this shit right off. Somebody said, not her personally attacking me. Oh my God.
Me? Is that me? Did she come for
How'd she know?
me?
How'd she know? I'm telling you. But no, that makes so much sense. And I feel like, you know, this episode is not about childhood trauma, but I feel like we could talk about it for hours in preparation for what this is actually about. This episode is about cheating and cheaters. So if you have been cheated on, or if you've been a cheater, this is for you. How much of, since we were talking about childhood trauma, how much of, well, first let's start with how many people come to you because they're having cheating issues within their relationship?
A lot.
Yeah.
I think that is one of the, I want to say maybe the number one reason people break up. It's definitely number one or a quick number two behind just like irreconcilable. Like I ain't in this anymore.
Yeah.
And I think even a part of the irreconcilable differences are sexual differences that might even lead to cheating at some point in the future, or to cheating and a misunderstanding about cheating. So cheating is up there. It's like the number one reason. So a lot of people.
And how often in those scenarios does the person say, like, I wasn't loved as a child, or I didn't have a good relationship with my parent, and that's why, like, I'm cheating now?
Almost every time. I would say this. I think when it comes to the cheater, it's it can really vary, right? Because we're all so dynamic and so different as people that sometimes people who cheat are cheating because they feel super insecure in the relationship, and they feel like they don't know how to get their needs met, and so they're kind of getting their needs met everywhere. Yeah. And then there's kind of like the more quintessential classic, like the television cheater that we see, that's kind of like the a-hole that's just like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I found somebody else and they did what they did, and we did what we, you know what I'm saying? Like, because there is that. Yeah. That is more the narcissistic cheater, the person who really doesn't care about the emotions of their partner, and that's a person that we need to be running away from. Right. Like, there was that whole series or segment of life where people were doing that whole like red flag thing. Like, red flag, the narcissist. They're gonna do all the things that only serve them, that don't serve you. So there's definitely like the broken cheater that's like, I just needed love wherever I could. I need attention constantly. I needed my mommy. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel insecure and I don't feel comfortable in myself. And whenever someone shows me love, I'm like, yes, give it all to me. And then there's the one that's just like, I mean, what did you expect? Like, I'm hot, I got money, I'm living here, and I'm doing my thing, and so you know, girls are gonna be throwing it at me. That's more what I hear from guys. I will admit. Really? Straight, gay, whatever, LGBTQ, everyone. That's more like a male thing, I will say. There's no study on that, no stats. This is just personally from my experience. Totally anecdotal. But I feel from the females that I've worked with that have cheated, it's been more of the like, I felt unloved, I felt unneeded, I felt unsupported, I was depleted, needed more attention, and so I got that attention, and it was from someone outside of my relationship.
I have so many questions. So many questions. Number one, when somebody comes to you and they're like, I needed comfort, blah, blah, blah. How often are you like, that's bullshit, you're just fucking selfish?
I don't think I've ever said those exact words.
Well, because I feel like that's not the clinical way. Right. That's why I'm not any of these things. Well,
I'm a little bit more real. I'm a little bit more real now that I'm not like doing like the clinical stuff. Because as a coach, I'm a little bit more like, girl, bye. Come on. Really? Really? But you know, I am an over empathizer, so that might tell you a little bit about my own life.
What's your sign?
I am a Gemini.
I think I knew that. Yeah. I think we talked about that.
Gemini with a Leo rising. Ooh. Yeah, and the Aries moon, girl. I'm a lot.
Wow. Wow. That's spicy. That's spicy and saucy.
I'm a lot, but I empathize. I feel people a lot. So, you know, so even with the cheaters, I'm still like, tell me everything. Yeah. I need to know what happened. Who wasn't there for you? I'll be there for you.
Yeah, exactly.
But at a certain point, I'm all about what we call the dialectic. So about sitting with two opposing ideas that are very, very dissonant, but we can hold them at the same time. That you can be someone who is vulnerable and needs to be cared for, but also needs to be held accountable. Right. And has to acknowledge that your actions were shitty.
I think I'm that. What's that called? What's it? Did you say?
The dialectic.
I'm a dialectic.
Yes. I think it's important to help people see the dialectic. So if someone comes to me and they're just beating themselves up for cheating, right, and that's all they're doing, I'm like, but you're also vulnerable. And you needed support, and you needed love, and you didn't have that when you were growing up, and you're not used to, you know, this, you're not used to that. But if someone comes in and they're only making excuses for themselves, and they're just like, oh, it couldn't be helped, it was inevitable, I make this much money, and I do this, and I do that, and of course everyone's throwing this at me, then it's like, no, you need to be held more accountable. Yeah. Right, let's talk about this, like, we have to be real, like, because a big belief of mine is that when we get into relationships, we are holding our partner's heart. Right. That is what our partner has entrusted us with, is the most intimate part of them, the most vulnerable moments that they have ever their experience, we are holding that.
Yeah.
And so it is our responsibility to be constantly thinking about this heart that we are holding. And it is their responsibility to be constantly thinking about the heart that they are holding. And if we are constantly thinking about our partner and our partner's well-being, then everyone is being fed. But what happens a lot of times in relationships is you'll have one partner that's holding their own heart and is thinking about themselves. And then we'll have another partner that is holding that first partner's heart too. But nobody's holding that second partner's heart.
Child, and then they end up throwing the heart to somebody else and they want to hold it because their hands are free.
That's it. And that's it. So someone else might catch that heart, or sometimes even the one who's holding their own heart, they're only looking out for themselves. And that's like when you're looking at like the kind of like, I'm not diagnosing anybody with narcissism. That's when you're kind of looking at that more egotistical, self-centered type of love, where somebody is just building up these walls and only focused on what they can get because maybe they think other people won't really take care of them. They've never seen it in the past. People don't know how to take care of them. And so they're just kind of like trying to get what they can. It's kind of this, you know, it's like no one can do it but me. So I'm going to get this person. I'm going to get that person. They're going to take care of me. I'm going to have this girl over here. I'm going to have this guy over there. And
Child. Yeah. But then that's my question. That's my second question, because I have them in a list in my brain. Why are those people in relationships? Like, if you want to go out and have everybody, be single. I don't get why people, like, why are cheaters perpetually in relationships? Like, you don't have to be a cheater. You could just go out and be a dog and nobody would care. You just go, come right back to your little doghouse, go back out, go get a bone, come back to your doghouse.
And that's the selfish piece, right? Because humans need intimacy. We are bad at being alone, right? None of us in this room are wearing clothes that we made ourselves. None of us are wearing, like, I didn't make this table, you didn't make this building. We need other humans in order to survive, period, point blank. Other humans are built into us evolutionarily. So there's a part of our brain in our frontal lobe called mirror neurons. And they make us connect and empathize with other people because we have to do it. So if we do too many things that could push us outside of the group, we feel guilty. And the guilt motivates us to like apologize, to do what we have to do to get back in the group. Because if you get kicked out evolutionarily, you get kicked out of the group, you're dead.
Yeah.
You couldn't make it as a hunter-gatherer by yourself.
Yeah.
Berries go bad. You got to have a lot of people getting berries.
Berries go bad.
You can't just hold on to your berries by yourself. They will all be rotten.
Yeah. Right? Or you drop a few.
You drop a few, you're in trouble, right? You don't get a wildebeest that month, you're done for, right?
Yeah.
So you got to have more people. And so even these folks who don't think they need relationships realize they need relationships at some level, and so they're still seeking out the intimacy. They're just seeking it out on their own terms. And I think when that becomes problematic is when they're not communicating and being honest.
Yeah. Because
also you have to be honest with your actions, because some guys will say, and I shouldn't be blaming guys, some people will say, but I told them I didn't want a relationship. But then you're sitting up on the phone all night every night. Then you're taking them out to eat every week. You're flying them out to other countries.
Child.
You're doing all the things that a very intimate, committed relationship might do. You're pantomiming that, but you're communicating something that's very different. And what that does in the eyes of a person who's a pursuer or a person who wants the relationship to kind of keep going is that they're getting those crumbs of love. And they're like, this person really wants to be with me. They're showing me how important I am. And I just eventually will convince them to be in this intimate, committed relationship with me, and it'll happen eventually. They just took me to France. They just bought me this really nice bag.
No,
they just
bitch.
did this. They just did that. You know?
No.
And
he wants to be in a relationship with me. He's just really busy right now.
He's really no, if he wanted to be in a relationship with you, he'd be in a relationship with you.
Period.
You know what I'm saying? If Bill Gates could be married at some point, anyone can.
Yeah.
If these people are true. He's a very busy person.
Right.
However you feel about him, conspiracies, whatever.
Right.
But I feel like I always have to put a caveat on everything now.
Yes.
But like, he's busy.
Yeah.
Busy people still can value the people that are in their lives.
Yeah.
And find space for them.
I always say if Barack can do it, your man can do it too.
He's a better example.
Okay. If Barack can take Michelle on a date, find the time, you can find the time.
Thank you. He was running the free world.
What's your man doing? Playing Call of Duty?
A lot of Call of Duty. Like, no, that's not busy. Shit. Thank you.
Oh my God. Okay, so then I guess, on this podcast, we are inclusive. But when it comes to the gender binary, I feel like people don't always assume that when someone is cheating in a relationship, if it's a heterosexual relationship, that it's the woman. They always assume that the man would be the cheater. How often do you see women in these heterosexual relationships coming in and being like, I cheated on my partner?
Women cheat too.
I haven't. I've never cheated on a partner.
Me neither.
And
Me
to my
neither.
knowledge, I've never been cheated on. I always say to my knowledge because, you can't trust these motherfuckers for shit. So you never know what
exactly. I definitely have one situation that whenever I figure out my life, I will probably talk more about. But I definitely was in a relationship with more than one person. Because at some point, I think also when it comes to communication, polyamory is an option.
Yeah.
But everyone has to consent. It has to be very open communication, and trust and safety are the center of polyamorous relationships, or like non-monogamous relationships, and they can look very different. They are actually very notorious for not working out long term. But I think we also have to sometimes adjust our idea of what a relationship is going to be and how long it's going to last.
Yeah.
But I think I've now gotten away from the question that you originally asked me.
It was about women and cheating. Yes.
They cheat. They cheat. So there was a study done actually in 2016, and I would love to see an update of it. But they were looking at, cheating and relationships and all of these things. And actually in the late teens, early 20s, women were 1 point higher than men in cheating.
Oh, you know what? I actually believe that. Because the amount of friends that I had in high school that were like, yeah, I cheated on this weekend. This college boy was in town, and we just hooked up. It was just making out. It wasn't anything serious. I hope he takes me back.
Literally, it was 11% to 10%. Guys were 10% cheaters, women were 11%.
Ooh.
And then from there on out, it's women are less likely to cheat by a good margin. I don't remember the exact stats. And then it explodes when we hit 50.
Yeah.
Men all of a sudden really take the lead in cheating. And then it widens even more after 60.
Oh, man. You know what? I feel like a lot of people, because we did some polls on our Instagram. Okay, we love a poll. Okay, so the first poll that we did was, have you ever cheated on a romantic partner? 74% said no, but 26% said yes. But then when we asked, have you ever been cheated on by a romantic partner, 70% said yes, 30% said no. Then we asked about the excuses that were given to them as to why the partner cheated or why they cheated. Yeah, we get... I
would love to hear. I can't wait to hear these.
We get down to the nitty gritty on this podcast, okay? First person said they never admitted to it. The girl told me.
Damn.
Someone said that their partner said, you let yourself go.
Absolutely not.
You were out of town. You weren't affectionate enough. I love you, but I love her too. Is that possible? Do you think that someone can love two people at the same time equally?
I mean, I think that you probably can, because you look at parents who have multiple children.
That's true.
I think we can, but are you truly loving someone if you're lying to them and sneaking around behind their back? Is that truly loving? So I would like to say they probably were lusting after two different people, because love involves communication, openness, vulnerability, and giving a person a choice, right? You would give that person a choice to be in a relationship with you and someone else. You wouldn't sneak around if you really love them. So I'm kind of calling bullshit on that.
Period.
Yeah.
Love that. Somebody said excuse, question mark, with a bunch of laughing emojis. There was no excuse, man. A lot of people said none. Someone said they blamed it on being drunk. Someone said I never got caught. So they never had to give an excuse. Yeah.
Wow. That's wild.
It's a woman. I got to
Women
check
cheat.
pronouns and all things.
Women
yes.
cheat. It happens.
It is a woman. But do you think that women have a less chance of getting caught? I've heard this many times, that women are more careful and calculated about our shit than guys are.
I do think that.
Because they're just messy.
And I think we're also socialized, right?
Yeah.
I think women are taught to look for men cheating. It is the oldest narrative. When you watch television shows from the 30s and the 40s and the 50s, it's always the man cheating.
Yeah.
And the woman kind of looking. So I think that we're all kind of trained to do it. And I don't think men are trained to be looking at our phone. There's that, all these TikTok videos of women looking over their man's shoulder with their phone to see what he's looking at, to try to get his passcode and all this stuff.
using his Face ID. I can't relate. I don't go through the phone because I feel like you're gonna see some shit that you don't want to see.
Me neither. I don't even want to know. I mean, I trust my husband with all my heart. I'm not even worried about it. But like, I don't. And I also think there's just like a respect level.
I don't want anybody going through my shit.
Exactly.
Don't take my phone and start going through it. Are you insane?
Like, are you insane? That's weird. It's an intimate place.
Insane?
Your cell phone is an intimate place.
Yeah. And honestly, like, to people listening, because I think a lot of women too are like, yeah, I'm gonna go through the phone. But do you want him going through yours? Do you want him in those girls' group chats?
That's what I'm saying. Because you have to also listen. Okay, listen, everybody. Listen. I know we're taught not to gossip, but one of the reason women live longer is because we communicate our feelings to our friends.
Yes.
Partly as like a rehearsal. So right, it's like I know we're taught, don't talk about anyone that's not in the room, but sometimes you have to figure out, how am I going to approach my partner?
Oh, do you know how many drafts of my messages that I send to anyone goes through my group chats first? I'm gonna tell him this. I'm gonna say da 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 da. What you think? And then they'll edit it.
And they're like, girl, no, okay. I get it.
Yes.
You got that petty streak in you, so you really want to bring this up. But what about we just say that? And so you have to do some of those rehearsals. You have to talk about some of this stuff.
Yeah.
And that's why women, we kind of express it a little bit more, and so we're not holding on to it, because holding on to a lot of stress literally manifests into physical illness. And so we're able to express it, talk about it, get it out. And so, yeah, of course you don't want him going through your phone.
No.
You don't need him seeing all of that. No. Your original message. You want him to see the original message. Get out of here.
Somebody said that their excuse was that it was a really unhealthy relationship and we both fell for other people. So it was excuses on both sides.
You should have been out.
Yeah, that should have been a
You should
breakup.
have just been out, yeah.
More than likely. The person was abusive. So
you should have been out.
Yeah, should have been out.
You should have been out. Because cheating could be more dangerous.
Yeah.
If they're abusive and they find out, then that could really be a dangerous situation. So, yeah, we need to be helping our friends who are, we need more services for folks that are in abusive relationships. It's really hard to get yourself out of.
Agreed. It wasn't really cheating. I just wanted her naked pictures.
Pardon the fuck out of me.
Somebody said that they approached their partner about the cheating and the partner said, okay, and?
Because they were cheating too.
Yeah.
Y'all were both cheating.
What?
Wow.
Well, no. They said, you've been cheating on me. And they said, okay,
and they said, okay, and. That's ruthless.
Child.
Oh, my goodness.
I'll bust the windows out your car.
Oh, God,
I wouldn't be able to contain myself. Okay, and?
Woo. That would definitely be an escalating incident.
That's a good way of putting it. I like that because that's not criminal.
Yeah, that's not a criminal
statement. For legal reasons, it would have been an escalating incident for me. Not me busting any windows out of anyone's car. What?
No.
Who said that? That wasn't
I don't
me.
even own a bat.
That wasn't. No, I do. It's right next to my bed. But that's for protection.
See? You can have that.
We had a bunch of different ones. There's a lot in here. The person told them that it was their fault, and he fucked their mutual friend. You went off to college. It wasn't a physical cheat, but it was an emotional one, which I find to be worse.
Me too. I think women tend to find that worse, and that tends to be what women do.
Yeah.
We tend to have the emotional affairs. Partly because we're so good at communicating and we're trained to understand emotion and to need more from our partners. And when our partners can't give that, we might not want to physically leave them, because also as women, we make less money. We might have kids with this person, and it is hard for a woman to be single, financially self-sufficient, and maybe raising kids on her own. And so now you're kind of stuck in this relationship physically.
Yeah.
But emotionally, you're entirely checked out. And, still sucks, but that's what you do see.
Yeah, and next thing you know, you got a work husband.
That's why
it's becoming more and more.
I don't
like a real husband.
I don't message men after the sun sets.
Yeah,
that's one of my things. Like once the sun sets, I'm like, I don't talk to no dudes.
Yeah, off the clock.
Yeah,
off the clock. Somebody said they cheated because, they were told that the reason why they got cheated on was because they gained weight. They needed to see if they still had it. They weren't feeling like themselves. You weren't giving me sex enough. My ex was my first, and it was really hard to let her go. Yeah.
The gall.
The audacity. The audacity. Yeah. Some of these are just fucking whack. And then some of these, it's like, okay, the person that you were with should have probably communicated their feelings to you a long time ago. Like, I just feel like there's steps, there's levels, I think, before you get to the point of actually cheating with someone. If you have like a conscious mind, I don't know, it would take a lot. It would take a lot. Like, I don't even know what it would. I don't think it would take anything. I think the right thing to do, and what I've always said in my romantic relationships to my partners is, hey, if you're out and you just can't contain yourself, send me a text. Call me.
Do anything.
Say, listen, I can't resist this bitch at the bar. Break up with me.
Just break up with me.
Just break up with
me. Or include me. Maybe we all want to. Maybe I can't. Maybe I can't resist that girl at the bar either. Who knows?
Me see.
Let's just talk. Let me see.
Send me a picture.
Let me see.
No.
I know. But I'm saying, like, communication, openness. Like you're saying, give me a choice.
Exactly.
Right. Give me an option, because you never know what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
You never know.
It could be a good time.
It could be a good time for all.
Not for me, though.
That is the number one. You're like, that ain't mine. That is
me.
the number one fantasy in the United States is a threesome.
Really?
Number one sexual fantasy.
I am too territorial for that shit.
Yeah. But a lot of people don't do it, but they want it.
I've always said I'm the type to, like, be down up until the point of you're touching on my man, and now it's an escalating incident.
What?
Wait a minute.
This is really how
I didn't agree to this. Well,
yeah.
We got a bunch of actual written
Oh my God.
statements looking for advice. There's so many different stories. I couldn't believe how many stories, and especially from a lot of, like, young people, which you said that, like, teenagers.
Early, that's when they're doing it. That's when it's happening.
Okay. So this first one, I'm going to leave the names out, even though they included them in. Okay. But we'll say that this one is from Danny. I need advice. I'm so lost. I've been married for a little over a year to a man I've been with for almost 9 years. His name is blank, and our relationship has always had its ups and downs, and we were on and off in the beginning. He had a stroke at 24 years old. Luckily, he made a full recovery, but it fully changed him and gave him this attitude that is hard to deal with sometimes. I trained a new hire at my job years ago named blank, and we were instantly attracted and drawn to each other, and he became a good friend of mine really fast. If I hadn't been with blank at the time, I would have wanted to be with this other guy. We were still really flirty with each other and talked all the time. We ended up having a falling out a few years ago and didn't talk for a while, but he never really left my mind at all. We reconnected after some time, and it was like nothing had really changed. I ended up being pregnant and engaged and eventually married. And through all of that, the new hire was always really supportive, even though I'm sure it hurt him because he still wants to be with me. It just shows the kind of person that he is. With us being older, we've had a lot more conversations about feelings for one another, and I just can't help but think I'm supposed to be with him. I'll admit that I'm having an emotional affair with him, and when my husband went away for a bachelor party, I had plans to go see blank, but he had a death in the family, so I wasn't able to see him, which killed me. Child, that was probably a blessing in disguise.
The universe was protecting you. Mm-hmm.
I haven't cheated yet in that way, but honestly, I want to. And it's because with my current partner right now, I feel alone, and we've had many talks about what I need in a relationship over the years, and nothing has changed. It's almost like I just settled when all I really want is this other guy. I don't know what to do anymore, and it's more complicated than ever before.
Yeah. My heart goes out to them a lot, particularly because their partner had a stroke.
Yeah.
And that's something that can change a person. I mean, depending upon where it is, frontal lobe damage can change a person's personality drastically. Drastically.
And it's not their fault.
It's not their fault.
Yeah.
But you're now having to deal with it.
Yeah.
And, you know, and who knows if their personality now is aggressive or incapable of really understanding some of the deepness of your experiences or your emotions, or makes it difficult to empathize with you, which are things that you need in your relationship. And what I would empower her to do is to figure out if she can get a therapist to sit down with her husband and herself and see if they can work through it. And she'd be really honest about his personality changes impacting her, to see if she can improve that relationship, to bring in some of the emotional support that she's getting from this other partner.
Yeah.
And this other, you know, potential like work husband kind of situation. If she can try to let her husband know, her partner know, these are the things that I really feel like I am lacking.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's one thing that an emotional affair can do, is it can highlight the areas that are missing in your own relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It can really show you that, okay, there's some non-physical things, because sex is great, but it ain't everything.
Yeah.
Most of your relationship is spent not fucking.
Yeah. Facts.
Facts, right?
Facts.
Like,
especially if you've been together for a while. Isn't that like, people think like, oh my God, you're so lucky if you're in a long-term relationship. You're probably having sex every single day. What?
even if you did, you're still doing other things more.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Like arguing over toilet paper tissue.
You know what I'm saying? Grocery shopping. Like, I mean, how long
Yeah.
can you fuck every day?
No,
Every-
there are some people.
There are, but still, like, come on, you got to work.
Not me though.
No, you gotta work and live your life. But like, you know, and so the emotional piece is important, and she does need to like really honor herself in that she's managed to not get too far with this other man.
Yeah.
That the universe, God, Allah, whoever is on her side was on her side that day. And unfortunately there was a tragedy in his family, which obviously we don't wish on anybody.
Yeah.
But definitely kept her from possibly making a very real mistake. And then we also have to keep in mind, you know, the 80-20 principle, that when you're in an unhappy relationship, anything looks like sunshine. That does not necessarily mean that this other person would be a better partner for you. They're just filling the void in your marriage.
That is the realest thing. That is so true. That is so true. Because when you hear stories of people who are in these situations, especially emotional affairs, but even the physical ones too, it's like, okay, I'm not getting this over here, but this person is telling me all those things. But then there's a lot of shit that they're not doing either.
Because they don't have to.
But it's just that one thing. I watch a lot of Oprah specials. And I watch a lot of like, when she's like, all the men in the room today have cheated, and it's like 500 men in like a big conference room, and she's like, if you've cheated, raise your hand. And they all raise their hand. I'm like, what the fuck? But it's always the same thing. I wasn't getting this and the excitement of this because I was getting that one thing that I was missing over here. I'm getting it over here. But she doesn't argue with me. She doesn't, you know, because you're not with her all the time.
Exactly. Of course she doesn't argue with you. She doesn't smell your stanky booty.
Exactly.
When you don't shower before you get in bed.
Exactly.
She doesn't know where you put your socks every single
Yeah.
night.
She's impressed by me. Yeah, because she doesn't see the fact that you don't do shit at home.
You know what I'm saying? She doesn't see it all.
Yeah.
And then and it's also partly thinking about what your partner is doing. Right? Especially if you're in a healthy relationship, right? If you're not being abused, if your partner's not speaking down to you, if they're just maybe too boring today, or you've gotten used to them, or everyone's put on weight, pandemic. Listen, I tried to squeeze into these pants and had a panic attack on the way here. I was like, calling my husband, I was like, why is this happening to me?
Stop. Oh my God. First of all, you look great.
I haven't been wearing pants with buttons for a while. And so zippers and
Who
buttons
has,
are
though?
really a thing. But like, you know what I'm saying? But like, so you come out of this, because we spend most of our lives, right, not in our best selves, right? Like, we're going to get older, we're going to gain weight. Yeah, maybe in our 20s we were popping, maybe in our 30s we're popping. Some of us pop our whole lives, but a lot of us, things change, and we need to be able to change with our partner, right? And if all you like about your partner is the fact that they're hot, when they're 99, I don't know how hot they're going to be.
They might be hot for a 99-year-old.
That's it. But you're not going to be hot for a 25-year-old at 99. You're just not.
Oh, that's my biggest fear.
Right? But you're not. It is what it is, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, there's work that we can do, but like we have to, at some point, like I always talk about, like diversifying our self-esteem, and we have to find multiple pieces of ourselves that we love that we can carry throughout our lives. Because if it's only one thing, especially one thing like looks or weight, you pop out 2 kids, your weight's different.
Yeah.
It's different. Your body just is, it's shaped different. It's put together
it's
different.
as
it's supposed to.
Yeah.
You know, and so like when it comes to her and him, if it's a healthy relationship, leaning into the gratitude of it. So whenever you think about being with this other guy, realizing that I'm sure they have a lot of really wonderful qualities, and if she wants to commit to him, then she can leave her current relationship. She can do the most that she could do the therapy, do the work, and if the relationship is truly toxic, if it's truly irreconcilable, if there's no way he's going to ever give her the things that she wants, and she's not comfortable with living in a marriage that doesn't have that, she should terminate that marriage and relationship, allow him to go on and live a life that will make him happy with someone who will love all the things that he has, and then pivot to this new relationship. But don't expect this new relationship to be perfect either.
Period.
Because it won't be. Because
Yeah.
he's also a person.
Yeah. I always say that there's compromise in every single relationship. You just have to decide what you are willing to compromise on.
Absolutely.
Like, if you're willing to compromise on the emotional piece of it, cool. But if you're not, then you probably need to get out.
Yep.
As soon as you can.
Yep.
Okay, moving on to the next one. My fiance cheated 7 years ago, and I used to have dreams when he did cheat. They stopped, but they've recently come back. What do I do? Maybe to someone they're just dreams, but I feel like I have that extra sense.
Ooh.
I'm an intuitive dreamer. So when I dream, I swear, either I'm manifesting that shit or it's like it becomes my actual reality. Like it's an actual premonition. I'm not trying to say, you know, I got a third eye, but I do.
My first initial thought about this, because obviously, I mean, absolutely. I think there are people who are very intuitively connected and can maybe sense things in their waking life.
Yeah.
Because there's something about our conscious mind that also tries to tamp down some of our fears
Mm-hmm.
and some of the things we might be seeing. We can only pay attention to so many things, right?
Yeah.
And so our conscious mind might try to push away certain realities. And when we're sleeping, we're living fully in our unconscious where there's nothing but possibilities. And so something that she saw throughout the day, something she saw throughout the week can absolutely be emerging in those dreams.
Mm.
And it's like, oh, this motherfucker cheating again.
Yeah.
Right? Or it can also be trauma.
Right.
Because one symptom of trauma is nightmares, especially nightmares about the thing that was difficult. And we don't like to think about trauma as like all the things that are actually traumatic. There's trauma with a big T, which is like rape, assault, you know, the death of a loved one, or a near death of yourself, like something really physically damaging.
Mm-hmm.
But there's trauma with a little T, which is losing a job, divorce, being cheated on, even sometimes moving because you don't want to, or, you know, sometimes even having kids can be traumatic for some people. And so she experienced a trauma with a little T.
Mm-hmm.
And so the dreams coming back might be a reflection of the fact that she hasn't fully worked through some of her trauma and might need to get into some individual therapy to really work through how it is she feels about it. Maybe she kind of pushed it to the side a little bit and now it's rearing its head because there's something that he did that she's unconsciously tapping into.
Yeah.
That is making her feel kind of like this is happening again.
Yeah.
So no matter what, I would have her look into some individual work. Very few people stay in relationships after someone cheated.
Well, what do you say to that? Like, how do you feel about if you do accept the fact that somebody's cheated on you and you do decide to carry on that relationship? Because I think we did another poll. You know, we love a poll. And we asked people, did the relationship last after the cheating? 85% said no. So for the 15% that said yes, that it did survive.
That's exactly what the bigger stats say.
Really?
15%. 15.6% stay in the relationship. Or we're currently in the relationship during the stat. So y'all stats are legit.
All of our followers. Look at that.
Y'all
wow.
shit is good.
Look at y'all. I'm so proud of y'all. What about for those 15% then? Like, can you even bring up the cheating after it's done if you've already accepted your partner to move forward in that relationship?
I think that's hard, right? It's like, because you want to be able to allow for forgiveness.
Yeah.
Because that's a huge part of kind of this dynamic post cheat or post any type of offense, right? But it's all about why. Why am I feeling this? Is it because some of these things are coming up again that are making me feel like you're cheating?
Mm-hmm.
Because then that could be a conversation with your partner and be like, okay, I don't want to bring up the cheating, but I want to let you know how I'm feeling right now.
Mm-hmm.
I've been having dreams about it. I've been concerned and worried. You came home really late last night. You didn't really have an explanation. And it's just kind of re-traumatizing me and it's taking me back to a bad place. Is there anything you can do to reassure me? Because forgiveness isn't necessarily the only goal, right? You forgive because your partner who aggressed against you has done everything in their power to make you feel safe again.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That has to happen first.
Right.
You have to feel safe. The trust and the safety have to come back into the relationship, and that's the responsibility of the person who cheated. And so then hopefully after the work that you've done, they would be open to you bringing up again, like, okay, I'm not trying to bring up the cheating per se.
Right.
But I'm, for some reason, feeling very uncomfortable again. Can we talk about this? Can we set an appointment with our couples therapist or something to address the way that I'm feeling right now so we can honor that part of myself so I can move through it again?
Yeah.
Because even, like I think the Bible actually had a pretty great statement when it comes to forgiveness, 70 times 7. We don't forgive somebody once. We do forgive over and over and over again. Every time that thing comes up in our mind, we are engaging in the act of forgiveness all over again. And so forgiveness isn't easy. And it does involve the other person. Sometimes you do have to bring it up. Like, okay, you stayed out a little too late. It's kind of reminding me that last time I had to forgive you.
Yeah.
Can you help me out?
Yeah.
I'm trying to do this.
And the partner you don't want is the one that's like, I already said sorry. How many times do I have to apologize? But I feel like it can get to that point too for the other person who did cheat, where they're like, I'm doing everything in my power to prove to you that I'm willing to be committed now. Yeah. And it's like you gotta be a strong ass bitch.
You do.
Or whoever.
Yeah. And that's why a lot of those relationships don't work.
Yeah. I'm not that strong. I'm sorry. Because every time I'm be like, oh, hold on now.
Where are you going?
What are you typing? I feel bad that we couldn't get to everyone. But there's so many stories. But I feel like we have given you what you need for the moment. And you're just going to have to come back. Tell everyone where they can find you.
Yeah. They can find me at AllisonHicks.com. They can find me at Allison Hicks on TikTok, on Twitter, and on Instagram. And then TikTok, it's like Dr.Allie. But my name is spelled wacky. ALLYCIN. Allison.
Okay. I'm so stupid because when I read that, I was like, Dr. Allie Sin Hicks.
Yeah, right.
But you will see Dr. Allie very soon a lot. That's all you need to know.
That's it. That's all you need to know. Get used to it.
Yeah. Period. Oh my God. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Cammie Crawford, host of the Relationship podcast. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and want to see more videos, click below to subscribe and like this video for more Dear Media content. So shut up and listen.